And now, I know many of you know this man, and some of you may not, but I'd like to introduce to the stage a colleague and friend of mine, Hirokawa. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and aloha. Oh, you all sound like you've been working all day long. We can do better. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and aloha. Aloha. That feels really good. I'm actually giving a speech, and I'm a bit nervous, but I'm happy to be here. It's hard to put into words what it feels like to be home, to stand before you not just as an executive at ACE Scholarships, but as one of your own. I'm a local boy from Kaneohe, and as some of you know, my journey hasn't been straight or smooth. It looked more like the old pulley road, windy, unpredictable, and at times kalohe to the max. But every twist and turn has led me to this moment. Growing up, I was always a little different. As a kid, I once built a robot out of Tinker Toys just to avoid doing chores. By age 14, I had launched my first business, Music Ensemble Mobile Disco, MC Rhythm. And yes, during my senior year, I once built a makeshift Samoan fire knife for May Day and accidentally set fire to the Kalaheo High School gym, which led me to dance and MC at the Polynesian Cultural Center to let me do it again. I served a mission for my church. I later started a business called Wide River Academy of Fine Arts. Eventually, I became a music teacher, beginning my classroom career at Leisure Dance Academy. I also worked at Hanho'oli School, and then later teaching 11th and 12th grade American history and more music at Island Pacific Academy. From there, I became a head of school and eventually a charter superintendent. By most standards, I had made it, but inside something still felt missing. It took me a long time to figure out what that was. Every moment that brought me the most joy, the kind that fills your soul, had one thing in common: service. My deepest sense of purpose came from investing in the lives of others. After 24 years in education, I was tired, and I think a lot of you feel that same way. Tired of systems that prioritize politics over children, tired of feeling trapped in a structure that relied more on the social pressures than on the integrity to do what is best for kids. So, I stepped away. I wrote down a dream list of what I had hoped to find in an organization. I honestly didn't think it existed, but I still searched. Then one afternoon in Pleasant View, Utah, that's where I live, everything changed. Across the street from our home, I saw two kids, a brother and his younger sister, each carrying a garbage bag full of clothes. They were in trouble. They hesitantly walked up to my wife and me in our driveway. We could see immediately that they were scared. They asked if we could take them to the train station so they could meet up with family down south. So we helped. We gave them food, luggage, and a ride. During that short trip, they told us their story. They talked about unsafe schools, about working odd jobs to make ends meet, about dreams they didn't believe they'd ever reach. They spoke of growing up in poverty and living without hope. I sat there feeling helpless because in that moment, all I could offer was a meal, an old suitcase, and a ride. But something shifted in me. I knew I couldn't save those kids, but maybe, just maybe, I could help the next ones. That night, I cried, and I prayed, and I asked God for direction, and the next day, God answered. When I opened my computer, a message was waiting in my inbox. I had applied to dozens of great jobs. None of them were quite right. But I didn't apply to ACE. ACE found me. As I learned more, something stirred inside me, something I hadn't felt in a long time. maybe something that I hadn't felt since I taught music in the classroom. I felt peace, excitement, and clarity. This wasn't just a good organization, this was the one. ACE didn't check most of my boxes. It checked all of them, even the ones I didn't know I had. ACE Scholarships is a 501c nonprofit organization that awards K-12 scholarships to lower-income families, enabling children to get the kind of education that lifts them out of poverty cycles and equips them to reach their dreams. At ACE, they don't just talk about it, they don't just study it, they do it. For 25 years, ACE has been delivering educational freedom to families who need it most. In fact, more than 100,000 scholarships have been awarded across 12 states. It's amazing. They have raised more than $330 million in total scholarships delivered. And most important of all, 98.9% of ACE students graduate from high school. Folks, here in Hawaii, many are being priced out of paradise. Leaving home was one of the hardest things I've ever done because Hawaii isn't just where I grew up. It's an essential part of who I am. It's the Ono food. It's the way we talk. It's the Aina we love. It's the aunties and the uncles who raised me. It's the values of aloha, kuleana, and ohana that lives in all of us. But we desperately need help. Hawaii ranks 40th in public school quality. Only 40% of our 8th graders are proficient in math. In some communities, over 30% of children live in poverty. Native Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders are incarcerated 5 times more than their white peers, and the average cost of a home is around $1.5 million. Families are doing everything they can. They're working 2, sometimes 3 jobs just to give their keiki a better life. But despite all of this, there is still mana olana, hope for the future. Whether you're here as a donor, a school, or an advocate, each and every one of us can be part of the solution. When I joined ACE, I thought my list was complete, and there was so much gratification in seeing how changing education changes everything. But then a new dream appeared, one I never imagined possible. What if I could bring ACE home? Bring ACE scholarships to the families and children of Hawaii. We live in a time when it's easy to be cynical, easy to feel despair. But I believe with all my heart, the answers to our biggest challenges, the cures we so desperately need, can be found in a quality education for all children. I want you to think about this. Let's not wait for another child with dreams packed away in a garbage day to be left at the train station. The time to act in Hawaii is now. Because in Hawaii, you don't leave anybody behind. That's aloha, that's kuleana, and I have found out for myself, my friends, that is the ACE way. So remember, changing education changes everything. Mahalo nui, and thank you for being here. Aloha.